Now, I know January is pretty much over at this point, but I do believe with confidence that I think I have found the most mediocre horror game of 2024. Released on January 8th, Supernormal is a first person horror puzzle game developed by Hitori D Productions. You take the role of Detective Wyatt as you search to uncover the disappearance of Sophia Sakamoto, a 14-year-old girl who suddenly went missing. Wearing its inspirations on its sleeve, Supernormal boasts that it is heavily inspired by Allison Road, even going as far as being a spiritual successor of sorts, apparently even receiving a blessing from Allison Road's original creator, Christian Kessler. If you're not familiar with what Allison Road is, allow me to explain. It was going to be a horror game, itself being billed as the spiritual successor to everyone's favorite demo, PT. Before its cancellation, it was being developed by Lilith Ltd, but the project was scrapped on June 4th, 2016. This is before Kessler announced on August 22nd of the same year that he would begin developing the game alongside his wife under their new studio, Far From Home. However, there have been no new announcements regarding Allison Road's development, and it seems Kessler has moved on to other projects, so it seems like Allison Road is officially dead and buried. So to spell it all out, it seems Supernormal is a spiritual successor to a spiritual successor. I mean, there have been no other good horror games since PT came out. They got it right the first time, so why try to create anything new or original? While I can't say much for Allison Road as it was canned before release, it does feel like each game is just piggybacking off of whatever came before it. This is especially the case for Supernormal. A majority of the game, the scares, the story, even the themes of the entire thing itself just feel completely uninspired, pulling from every trope the horror medium has to offer. And when you compare it to Allison Road, it feels less like a spiritual successor and more just like a blatant ripoff. Aside from both games taking place in suspiciously similar homes, Supernormal's spooky ghost lady is a nearly one-to-one rip of the one in Allison Road. The game begins with you having a conversation with Sophia's father, Masato Sakamoto. He fills you in on most of the details of his daughter and her disappearance, how he's usually away from home because of work, and combined with the fact that Sophia's mother died years ago, she is often left alone in the apartment. Though it's a wonder I was able to get any of this information because the dialogue during this segment is completely drowned out by the Category 5 hurricane that's going mental just outside.
Thank you, Wyatt. Your dedication means a lot to me.
What?
However, I have to leave now, as I
Can't
need
hear
to make some
you!
arrangements.
Gameplay itself, if you can even call it gameplay, revolves around you searching Masato's apartment looking for clues as to what happened to his daughter. What, you don't want to spend the next hour walking around a lifeless apartment building looking for blood smears and crumpled pieces of paper? At least the monotony of this is broken up slightly because every time you find a clue, our star detective mumbles some stupid line like he's trying to be some 1950s noir detective. And he says the same stuff over and over again.
Crumbling pieces of paper scattered around. Could be torn notes or messages. I need to carefully piece them together. You might reveal something significant. Crumbled papers. Discarded like they hold no value. But in this investigation, every detail counts. I'll unfold their secrets, no matter how small. Crumbled pieces of paper. Could be a desperate attempt to hide information. I'll unfold their secrets and see what they're trying to conceal.
Oh wow, this is the 6th bloodstain we found and you're still pondering that something bad happened here? We'll talk about being a regular Sherlock Holmes. None of these clues really even serve the purpose of being clues. They don't give you any information about what happened to Sophia, but it was obvious something really bad happened here according to Detective Dingus. All of this boring seek and find back and forth is just a way to funnel you into jump scares. To be honest, I kind of feel wrong calling these moments jump scares, and I did jump a couple times, but it wasn't because I was scared. Mainly, it was because the game was blasting about 300 decibels of sound right into my eardrums. Voice recognition. Very low. Oh, Jesus. But trust me, I wasn't scared here. And if you want to see more examples of my shining bravery, be sure to check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/DizRush, where I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Mediocre jump scares, those are bad enough, but even the slow burn moments of actual build-up horror are just terrible. and they all happen the exact same way. You walk up to this hallway on the second floor, watch the ghost do some uncomfortable contortions, and then get hit with the equivalent of an auditory flashbang.
Think fast, chuckle nuts!
Plus, the game takes away all control from you when you get to one of these moments, so you immediately know something spooky is about to happen. Oh no, I can't control the game anymore. Guess I'm about to see something scary. The entire gameplay loop of Supernormal is just walking around this apartment looking for crap to find and waiting for the ghost girl to jump out and obliterate your ears. And the game doesn't even really give any rhyme or reason as to why she shows up in the first place. Which makes it even better because sometimes when she jump scares you, she'll also just kill you for good measure. It's nothing too annoying because you just spawn back on the couch like nothing happened, but why have it happen at all if there's really no reason for it? Shockingly enough, walking around an empty apartment waiting for jump scares to happen really doesn't make for the most engaging gameplay, so the game throws in a couple extra mechanics to help liven up this schlockfest. At any time you can press shift to use your microphone to talk to the ghost directly. There are only around 6 or so pre-programmed phrases you can say, so the mechanic isn't even that deep to begin with. But the actual voice detection itself is slapped together with chewing gum and twigs.
Where are you? I didn't even finish asking. Good. Subtitles?
Like everything else you do in this game, talking to the ghost barely does anything of worth. The only thing I ever had happen, no matter what I asked, is that some sound would happen far off in another room of the apartment. There are also random times where your microphone will activate on its own, forcing you to be quiet unless you want the ghost to come out and deafen you for a few seconds. You'll be fine though, because unless you're full on screaming into the mic, it's not going to pick up your voice at all.
Something might happen. Boo! Wow, what a jump scare. I think I scared the ghost.
Eventually, the game lets you access the house's security system and view the rooms through mostly stationary cameras. Functionally, this is no different than just walking around the house like before, but now you have to use the camera's night vision to find even more hidden clues left behind by the ghost. These clues can only be seen in the dark through night vision, and it's entirely random when they'll appear. So you have to keep walking back and forth, flicking light switches to make these things appear. If you thought walking around an empty house was fun before, wait until you do it in pitch black darkness. Every aspect of this game feels like it was lifted from another horror game that just did it so much better. Ooh, PT had a creepy house with a ghost woman in it. I need to add that to my game. Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's made you look through security cameras. I need to add that to my game. Phasmophobia let you talk to the ghosts. I need to add that to my game. Maybe the developer needs to spend just a little bit more time coming up with their own ideas instead of copying every other game under the sun. The story of Supernormal is a generic steaming pile, and it completely falls apart when you sit down and think about it for more than 3 minutes. At the end of the game, you discover Sophia's father, yes, her father, was the one who killed his daughter as well as a number of other seemingly teenage girls. It's an ending so obvious that twists back around to being unexpected because you would never think an actual human being would write a story that ends like that. I honestly believe in this day and age, ChatGPT could write a better story for this game. Before this, you also learn that Masato has some undisclosed psychological issues and has been off his medication for quite some time, heavily implying that his mental illness was the reason for his murderous rampage. It's one of the most overused tropes in horror, and seeing it executed so poorly here further waters down a game that's already the equivalent of flat Diet Coke. At the end of the game, when you discover the bodies and figure out that it was Masato all along, you are presented with either a good or a bad ending. And don't ask me how you get those, because I have literally no idea. You have almost no interaction with the game, and you don't do anything of worth that would impact the game's ending. Pretty much all you do in this game is walk around and get jump scared. So I wouldn't even begin to know what criteria the game is using to determine what ending to give you. The bad ending, which is what I got, has Masato coming back to the apartment and killing you after you find the bodies of his victims, while the good ending has Masato arrested for his crimes. Aside from a little extra cutscene on the bad ending, all of this is just described to the player through a wall of text. The overall plot is just bad enough, but when you sit down and actually think about it, it just doesn't make sense at all. If the apartment has a security system, why can't I just look at the recorded footage of the father committing these crimes? Why did the father hire a detective to investigate crimes he caused, let alone investigate a fresh crime scene in his own house? Is he stupid? Why is the ghost, who was presumably Sophia, both helping me out and trying to kill me? And why can't I get into the room where all of the bodies are hidden until the very end of the game when the door just magically opens? In the end, Supernormal is a disastrously mediocre video game that would be entertaining in all of the worst ways if it just wasn't so boring. And the most interesting thing about this game isn't any part of the game itself, but the wave of controversy that is surrounding it. Before I begin, I learned most of this information from a video published by YouTuber Bob Vids. I recommend watching their video to get the full scope of the situation, which I have linked in the description below, but I will summarize the broad strokes of the situation myself. As I said at the start of the video, Supernormal was developed by Hattori D Productions. This was the studio name for a single, seemingly unknown developer that was promoting themselves as a newcomer in the indie development scene. However, as presented by Bob Vids, it's possible this information is entirely true, and that the individual behind Hattori D Productions is not a fledgling indie developer, but a professional video game developer, one with a history of engaging with transphobic and racist content, as well as a history of developing schlocky, terrible games. In their video, Bob Vids contacts Christian Kessler, the creator of Allison Road that I mentioned earlier, to glean some more information about the creator of Supernormal. And based on Kessler's information, Supernormal was allegedly developed by a person named Artur Wączowski. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, who even is this? Well, Wączowski worked as a developer for Bloober Team, the developers behind Layers of Fear and the upcoming Silent Hill 2 remake, before leaving the studio for unknown reasons. After this, he founded Jukai Studios sometime in 2022, with the studio releasing their first game, Stray Souls, on October 25th, 2023. The game is, let's just say, not great. It was universally panned by players and critics alike, with fallout from the game apparently being so bad that only 2 months after Stray Souls' release, Jukai Studio announced they were closing down permanently. There's actually quite a bit more to this story that primarily revolves around Bob Vids, so I will let you watch their video so I don't butcher any of the details. But if this is all true, then the developer behind Supernormal, if they are really Artur Wączowski, is just another example of him trying to hide and obfuscate his very controversial past and keep his video game development career on life support. But as literally all his other games show, it's probably just time to pull the plug on it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. And be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.